Yeah.
I was going through your stuff. I never use a pen. I always use a stylus. I have a tablet. My setup is very mobile. And so when I was going through your repertoire, your resume, I was like, you're literally arguably one of the most youthful yet prolific young actors of the moment, right? And your on-screen presence is magnificent. It's captivating, and it's like there's very few that rival you. And the ones that come to mind are, you know, Megan Good from Eve's Bayou or Jaden Smith from Pursuit of Happiness. So you have this whole demeanor as if in his presence like a young Sidney Poitier. So
Wow.
for me, yeah. So for me, I was like, I gotta come
Yeah.
correct. So when I was
Thank
going through
you.
your
Those are some big names, so thank you.
yeah, yeah, and I was really excited to speak with you, and I wanted to do some research, and so I was trying to watch as many things as I can in clips. But I mean, we were a part of the Lionsgate release of your flick with Miss Berry, but I didn't want to go into that so early. But I was just looking at some of your headshots as well, and I was looking at some of the ways their pictures pop off the page, and I was like, when I see your pictures, I'm like, he's telling a story with his pictures. You know, I'm like, when I look at your pictures, I get a time, a place, a smell, I hear sounds. It's crazy. It's a kind of
Wow.
storytelling that some of the top commercial actors that really captivate us to purchase things, to provoke us to purchase, right?
Yeah.
So I was really impressed by you. But I was going to ask you, what was it like growing up with parents who are in the acting business, especially a father
Yes,
that famous?
it's great. It's great having two parents, both sides, able to give me notes and help me build on my skills has been very beneficial for my career. Like the movie with Halle Berry, I had my dad with me, and for Last Days of Ptolemy Gray with Mr. Samuel Jackson, I had my mom with me, and they just like they bring different things out of me, and it's great to see because you get one side of me in one way in one scene, and then the next scene you're like, whoa, he just totally switched sides. Like, what is this? What am I getting? And it's really helped me out in my career.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, how does it feel being a four? Like, was your grandfather and your great grandfather were they in the entertainment industry as well, or no?
No, actually, it was just my dad. He performed in different places at church, and from there he was like, you know what, I want to get into acting. And my grandma, she took him to acting classes in LA. We're based in Long Beach, and she would drive him an hour in traffic just to get him to his acting classes. She's been very, very helpful. She's watched my sisters when I've had premieres and days where I've had to shoot. She's helped out a lot. And fun fact, I'm actually technically the fifth. My great great grandfather, he was also Percy, but he had a middle name, and my grandfather didn't want to take on Percy Jr. And well, my great great grandfather didn't want to take on Percy Sr. And so my great grandfather, he decided to be senior, and my grandpa was junior. My dad's the third. But if my great great grandpa decided to be senior, I would be the fifth.
It's like a tongue twister.
Yeah, really, great 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 great, all of it.
Is there any pressure to fill your dad's shoes? He was on Veronica Mars and he had such a huge following. I mean, do you feel like those are big shoes to fill for you, or you feel like you're in your own lane?
Well, ever since I was little, because they didn't ask me, do you want to do acting? They were actually trying to move me around and bring me into different fields. I'm an athlete, so they tried to get me into basketball and soccer. And we're really big on trying everything so that you can't say, I never got to try this. And when I first asked to do acting, they were like, "Oh, you want to do it?" And they've always been like, "You don't have to do this. There's no pressure." And I've never really felt like, man, my dad was this big actor in the early thousands. I gotta be as big as him. Like we joke around, like, "Yeah, I got a higher IMDb than you," but it's never like a competition between us. It's never really like he's always making sure this is still what I love. And if I ever wanted to step away, I know I have their full support. So yeah.
Are you still managed by your parents?
Yes. Yes. My mom and dad, I have an agent, a publicist, and they help us out in different areas. But my parents, they run a lot of my social media and things like that. So yeah, they're behind me in all of it.
And then are you still working with LA Talent? Because I know that I saw somewhere they were working with LA Talent. Because I was with LA Models
Yes.
back in the day. I was in, so I was at LA Models when LA Models started LA Talent. That's how old it was.
Dang.
So I remember LA Talent. So I noticed that you have to do a lot of research on you. So I was going deep, and I saw that you were LA Talent, and I was like, oh, okay. And that's when I was thinking to myself, like, oh, that makes sense why his visuals are on point, right?
Yeah.
And then I
Yeah,
saw
I'm
you
still
on
with
the
LA
KT.
Talent.
Yeah, okay, nice. Congrats on that. It's a great agency. And I noticed that on your KTLA interview, you talked about how you were 3 years old and you put on a script that your dad had,
Yes.
received from a project, and you kind of like went through that process and you performed in front of your parents. How did you memorize those lines? Like, what was your process of memory? That's what I want to know.
Well, I was so little, I low-key don't remember. But through what my parents told me, I would like sneak and take those sides and like read them. Cause I'm ever since I was little, I've been writing. I used to take paper, fold it, and staple the sides, and I would write my own little books. And I've always just been great with words and articulating myself as much as possible. And I guess I took those sides and was like, you know what? I got this. This is mine. I got it.
And then, what's your process when you dive into a role? Are you getting an acting coach? Or is your parents both coaching you or helping you, or do you exercise your chops in class on a daily?
Well, I have a great acting coach, Andrew McElroy, and we work with him whenever we find time in between days and in between shooting days. And my parents are always there with me on set. They see every take, they make sure they're watching, they make sure they got the headphones. And in between takes, they'll run in and be like, "Hey, you need this, you need a little bit more of that." And they'll tell me, "You're doing great, keep doing what you're doing. That's a great take." And they're always there just step by step, take by take with me. And we have our own little routines and things that we go through step by step to break scenes down and break down the character before I get started.
Nice. And then, do you have siblings or no?
Yes, I have three sisters. Nia, Imani, and Joy. 9, 2, and like a couple months and 1 years old.
So how's it like being a big brother and being
It's
famous?
great.
What do they think about that?
It's it's great. It's so rewarding. It's really, really rewarding. The moments where they bother me, they get annoying, but the times where I walk through the door and they run and give me a hug and yell, "Brother, brother," it's the greatest thing possible. And I wouldn't trade anything in the world for my sisters. I love them to the max, to the moon and back. And being famous part, um, it's hilarious because my sisters, they'll be like, "Why do you get to go to this? Why do you get to go to that? I want to go. I want to go." And it goes on and on. But they love me. They're very proud of me, and they love what I do.
Nice. And then you have a great career, by the way. I was looking at your resume. I was like, this is nuts. This is so crazy. I was like, I don't even know where to start, but I was checking you out. I was like, whoa. And half the scripts you're in and half the projects, I can't pronounce the names. Ptolemy Gray with Samuel Jackson.
You got it right. Hey, you got it right.
That's at Cornell. I went to Cornell, so I was like, let me use that. So yeah, so I saw that. I was like, whoa! It's about a person with dementia who's 91, and he gets some
Yes.
special treatment. And he finds out that his I guess he gains his memory back, so to speak, and he learns about how his nephew died or something. And
Yeah.
did you have any memorable moments in that working with Samuel J?
Well, definitely meeting Samuel L. Jackson. That was a hilarious night. We had a lot of night shoots there, and meeting him late at night one day, it was great. Talking to him, because he's a very how do I put this? He's he speaks his mind. He speaks his mind. So it was cool to meet him, and I was only like 8 or 9 years old. So it was great. It was a very memorable time, and just being out there in Atlanta shooting with my sisters because I had one sister at the time, and she was out there with us and just exploring, going to different places, seeing all the sights. It was a great time. It was a very good time for us.
And then when you worked on now you're working on the political thriller, the TV show on Hulu, right? It's like a
Yes,
episodic
Paradise.
with Sterling K. Brown. What's it like working with him and working on that show? Again, another stylized hit, right?
Yes,
Very,
yes,
very, very, very all about the very cerebral. How's it like working
yes.
with him?
He's a great person on and off the camera. All the little details that he puts into a scene is amazing. And just the person that he is when we're sitting, just waiting to get back on set, he's just an all-around great guy. He's very kind and caring, hilarious, jokes on jokes. He has jokes for hours. It's like just pulling him out of a bag, pulling him out of his pocket. But he's so cool to be around. Love that guy.
And with this particular project, did they handpick you for that project or did you audition for it?
I auditioned for it. It was a long auditioning process, and I even got to meet Sterling in my last audition, the screen test. It was doing that scene was really what got me, and I was so happy because I walked out of there like, yes, because I made them all laugh. It was a cool experience to meet. I got to meet Dan and Sterling all at the same time in one room. It was cool.
And then let's fast forward to the performance that everybody was talking about. I didn't see the movie, and I'm really bummed. I've been traveling for like the last year, like literally back to back and going back and forth overseas. So the great thing is that we were able to work with Lionsgate, I believe, and they had I saw your picture and I was like, if I can see this little boy one more time. But I saw it and I saw the trailer and I was like, oh my God. I was so blown away by the little inserts that I saw of you and how mesmerizing and enchanting you were. Even when you fail, I was like, "Oh my God, get him up!" I didn't even see the movie, but I felt like I saw them. I felt like I saw the movie because you're so in it. You give yourself permission to be, to delve deep, right? And to really
Yeah.
dig. That's why I want to call you Percy Diggs, right? Because you really dig deep into your roles. And I'm like, who is this young guy? So when I was researching you, I noticed that. But the great thing is that I noticed you got an NAACP nomination. How great is
Yes.
that? How did that
It's
feel?
great.
Where were you when we were notified of that?
I was in my house and I was just playing video games. And my mom calls me. My mom and dad, they're in the living room, and they're like, Percy,
Wait,
come
wait. What
here.
video game were you playing? What video game were you playing
NBA
for?
2K, the best video game ever on the PS5. Best video game series since 1999. But I was in there playing that game, and my mom and dad called me from the living room, and they're like, Percy, come here. And it was like, it had some tone. I was like, oh man, what am I in trouble for right now? What did I do? So I walk in there, and they're like, have you been taking care of business? I'm like, yeah. You've been taking care of business? You've been doing what you're supposed to do? I said, yeah, I have. And they say, well, you must be taking care of business because you got nominated for an NAACP award. And I almost fell out. It was like, what? Whoa, that's insane. We knew that the what I did in that movie was great, and just to get recognized for that, it was a great feeling. Yeah.
And then I heard you had a relationship with a dog. At 360, we love animals and pets, and so we cover everything from dog furniture to treats. So I was laughing because I saw that you had a relationship with this dog. What was
Yes.
the breed of the dog, and what I guess what made you two bond on screen?
So this makes me so sad because I spent a month in Canada with that dog, bonding with that dog, talking to that dog, and I did not catch the breed. But what made me bond with that dog really was its eyes. It had very, very beautiful eyes, and but right before I started the emotional scene with the dog, I would just look into its eyes and just stare for a long period of time and just talk to it. And then we would start the scene, and I would already be there because in the scene there's a really tough scene where he loses the dog, and I just imagine losing the dog. Like we had been so close out there that working with Brass was it was great. It was I would love to see that dog again.
And speaking of eyes, I heard Halle Berry told you a thing or two about using your eyes. Can you elaborate on
Yes.
that?
Hallie told me that the eyes are the lens. They're a lens. And what you do with those, what you say so much with your eyes. Whether it's a glance, whether it's closing your eyes, whether it's rolling your eyes, all of it, it's a detail that's very underrated in the acting business. But without using your eyes, you can't go anywhere in that scene. And like if I'm just if I'm talking to you, but I'm not really looking at you, that says that I don't really care about the conversation. That says that, well, he's thinking about something else. He's intrigued by something else. So it tells so much. It tells a whole nother story about where you are mentally. Same with thoughts. She was also telling me that thinking deeply, thinking in your head it comes across on your face and your body and your body language and what you do. She was such a great mentor for me out there. On and off the set, she was so kind and there for me whenever I needed her. In the rough moments, in the highs, the lows. Even brought me some cookies that I ended up baking. So delicious. She's a great person. Wouldn't have been happier to work with another big name actor like her.
What were some of the highs and lows on set?
Well, a definite high was well working with them, working with Hallie, Anthony B. Jenkins, Alexander. It was just great to be in that environment. We had such a vibe. Whenever you walk by somebody, you couldn't help but say hi. How are you doing? It was great in the environment that we had. We really grew into a family out there, being in that house in the woods. There were a couple of lows that I won't go too deep into. But the things that I really struggled with the most were the emotional things. I was going through a tough time out there, but working with Hallie and AJ, they really brought me out of what I was feeling back home because we were shooting in Canada. So to be out of the country in a time where I was struggling was very, very important. It really cleared my mind. And when I came back home, I felt like a totally new person. I was able to go back to my friends and be as my energetic self that I used to be. And it was beautiful.
So you were tapped in and you were like dropped into your characters. That's amazing, man. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Um, yeah. And then what I was going to ask you was kind of touched on it, but I guess I wanted to retouch on it again when it comes to when did you know when did you know if you can remember the moment because you were when you were three, besides that moment, that you knew that you were an actor, that you knew you were an actor. When did you know? Did somebody tell you? Did your agent make you feel like that? Did you see a take of something? Did you blow somebody away or just being on set with somebody or what?
I feel like all because I did photo shoots and short films when I was younger, and all throughout my career, I was like, I like this stuff. I really enjoy doing this. And I feel like it was a little more recently where I felt like this is my craft. This is my area. This is my area of expertise. I don't think there's anywhere else in life that I will go as far as possible in. And I'm an athlete, so sports was always like, I want to go to the NBA no matter what. But as I've gotten older, I've started to realize and notice that acting is my true passion. It's what I wake up for in the morning. It's what I just being in the industry is what I long to do. So lately I've been like, whenever somebody asks me, what do you want to be when you grow up? Immediately it's actor, writer, producer, director. What do you want to do when you go to college? I want to do photography. I want to do directing. Like, it's my first response to any question like that. So recently, it's started to come to me that acting's where I want to go.
Nice. You have an insatiable desire, it sounds like. And then we're gonna fast forward to you. you're literally continuing to solidify your star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, right? You know that, right? Because
Hey,
and then now talking to you today and just seeing, because now you're like what, 13 or 14 now, at least?
I'm 14, yeah.
Wow, congratulations, man. You were just like a little
You.
boy. Like you're like 12
Yes.
on everything, and now you're 14.
Yeah.
Wow. But now you're like now you're working with like Francis Lawrence, and you know this script is written by Billy Ray, and you're working on set with Close and Jennifer Lawrence, Elle Fanning. I mean, these are major people, major talents, right, in Hollywood,
Yes.
right? And it's like, what is the audience? What should the audience expect from this, without giving spoilers, from this prequel? Because this is what this is going to be, like a prequel, right?
Yes. This movie is gonna be huge. We have such a powerhouse cast, and like everybody brings something different to the table. It's gonna be so astounding. Everybody's gonna be, let's just say they're gonna be satisfied with what comes to the screen. November 20th, 2026. It's gonna be a huge year for Hunger Games fans, and I can't wait for everybody to see it. It's gonna be so great.
And then I guess I want to ask you, with your character in this film, without giving a spoiler, I'm sure you can't do that, but how does the character in this film differ from who you are in person or in reality?
I actually feel like Emperor and Percy Daggs IV have a lot of similarities. Um, Not to pat my own back, but in terms of intelligence and the way that we think, it's very similar. And the way that he notices things, and his thirst for righteousness. I feel like we're similar in those ways. I can't say Ampert. No, I won't say that. Because Ampert and I both walk with confidence and pride, especially in our family and my talents and skills. So Ampert and Percy aren't that different.
Okay. And what's your, well, I'm gonna fire off a couple of quick questions and we're gonna wrap it up because I know you have to go to another interview. What's your dream role? Because all these roles that you've been talking about, all these roles you're in right now, they're sci-fi, they're intelligent, they're intellectual. What's your dream role? Because I mean, these are a lot of actors' dream roles of what you're doing right now, actually. But do you have any other types of dream roles? Like you want to play a basketball player or Godzilla in a movie?
You
Like, what's
know,
your
I
dream?
think I think my dream role might be to act in something that I write. I have been writing a couple of different things lately, and I feel like it would be amazing to do something that I had created and bring it the way that I wrote it, the way that I wanted to tell the story. So to the main character in a movie that I had made would be awesome. And of course, everybody wants to have their little Marvel movie. I definitely want to be in an action movie for sure. And I think I want another comedic role too. That would be pretty cool.
And is there anything else that we didn't touch on that you wish to speak about, like any community service affiliations, or even what you want to, what are your, what do you see yourself in 10 years before we go? Can you tell us where you see yourself in 10 years?
Um, I just see myself doing a lot of community service and things for my neighborhood and my city. I see myself developing in schools, to help other youth and investing in homeless shelters because I have a passion for helping those who can't help themselves and those who were put in a tough situation and they're struggling to get out of it. So I see myself doing a lot of stuff like that and continuing to write and direct and um do what I love. Um, yeah, that's where I see myself going in the future.
Well, it was a pleasure speaking with you, Percy, and I'm super proud of you, and I'm sure you're gonna go
Thank you.
far. We're rooting for you, in my Tyra Banks voice from Top Model.
Thank you. It was great to meet you, man.
Same here, bro.